Hey there, welcome in. Today we are going to talk about what fears and programming are keeping you stuck and how the energy of number 3 can help you. Welcome in, welcome to my channel. If you don't know who I am, I'm Heather with Heather's Healing. Thanks so much for being here. I appreciate your support. I work as a bridge between spirit and this world to bring through love and wisdom with the goal of transformation and helping everyone become their authentic embodied self. And I do that through cards, energy work, color therapy, and just allowing spirit to speak through me. So let's go ahead and get started. What I thought I would do, and I have some notes to hopefully keep me on track. So I want to talk about the power of 3, the number 3, and I'm going to do that through talking a little bit about how 3 shows up in tarot, and then also what 3 means as far as color therapy, and then I want to look at what fears are keeping you trapped. So I'm going to pull some cards so we can specifically tap into the fears that are keeping us stuck. And mosquito. And as I go through this video, just pay attention to any words, thoughts, memories, feelings that come up, because there's something to that. There's something about that memory, that thought that is programming. So just, keep that in mind, write it down, anything that might come up, because those are clues. And something that Spirit's been talking a lot about is wanting us to tap into our ability to create and to expand, to tap into the reason why you came here. You have a purpose, you came here for a reason, and the more authentic and embodied you can become, the brighter your light will shine. I've been working with Spirit my entire life, and at many times trying to avoid working with Spirit. I've really tried to, ignore, outrun Spirit, avoid. And what I have found is a lot of our God-given talents and gifts, oftentimes we avoid them. And I think it's probably our ego wanting to avoid those gifts and skills, because our ego knows that it will bring us closer to God, and and there's just something about that I think scares a lot of us. So that's kind of what the point of this video is. I just want to look at my notes here. And then often there's programming, conditioning and programming around not embracing those gifts, not embracing those talents. An example that's coming up to me right now is if you are, let's say you're really skilled at drawing or painting, you could have, that was all fine and dandy when you were a child, but as you got older, you may have had parents or family members that frowned upon that because it was seen as a waste of time. That's not going to pay the bills. Why are you engaging with that? So there could be, that type of programming around, I shouldn't do this, it's a waste of time, that sort of thing. So let me just see where I'm at here. Thanks so much for being here. I have things all planned out, and then as soon as I hit the camera or hit record on the camera, my mind sometimes goes blank, and maybe that's okay. So let's go ahead and talk about, I don't know why 3 was coming through so strong, but it is. And when I think of 3, I think of the beginnings. If we're talking about tarot, 3s in tarot talk a lot about things taking shape. So 3s they're manifestors, they're force multipliers. They are the beginning of a project, the beginning of a dream, and it's the energy of taking shape. You don't quite have the form. You might not quite know what it is that you are creating or what you're bringing through, but with the energy of 3, it's starting to take shape. And I'm going to go through each of the 3s in tarot and talk a little bit about them so you can kind of get a feel for the energy of 3, but also where some of your programming or fears might be coming up. So go ahead and sit back and relax and just kind of tune into your body. Take a moment to, tune into your body, be here now, be present, and then just notice again any thoughts, feelings, memories that come up as I talk about this. So when we're talking about the 3s in tarot, we'll start here with the 3 of Pentacles. So the 3 of Pentacles is networking. It's coming together with a shared goal or vision, and bringing people together to help bring your vision, to bring your creation into being. So that's a very, very human 3D. This would be like, it reminds me of, planning, building a home, planning out a home. You meet with an expert, you get with someone that has the skills that are needed to help bring your dream, your vision into being. So that's the three of Pentacles. Next we have the 3 of Swords. Now the 3 of Swords shows us how our loss, grief, and heartbreak can inspire us. It can shape us, or it can shut us down. A lot of dreams and a lot of, I think about foundations that are started. They start from not just seeing a need in the world, but it comes from grief. It comes from our trials. It comes from the things that are really painful, the experiences that we have that are really painful. So tapping into your, I don't want to say weaknesses because that's not it. But tapping into your greatest fears, tapping into your greatest pain, the greatest sorrow that you've had in this life can be tremendously inspiring and can lead you closer to your gifts. It can lead you closer to why you came here. So 3 of Swords, again, looking at grief and sorrow. We have the 3 of Cups, totally different energy here. The 3 of Cups teaches us how to celebrate each other, to come together, to celebrate the wins, to have a trusted circle of people in our lives, and allowing us to have an emotional connection with other human beings. And in having this type of energy and engaging in this type of energy, not only can it just be a lot of fun and be a great way for you to lighten up, but also be inspired. Sometimes a lot of inspiration can come from connecting with like-minded people and sharing your ideas, sharing your dreams. And remember, with 3s, there's always going to be other energies involved, other people involved. When we have 3 people together, at least 3, that energy it's amplified. So 3s are amplifier of energy. And again, it's the energy of manifesting, your dreams taking shape. Then we have the 3 of Wands, one of my favorite cards in the tarot. I just love this. The 3 of Wands inspires us to explore our potential, to go after our dreams, to journey without a map. We might not know what direction we're going, but this is trusting in the universe, trusting in the work that you have laid out. You have a plan, you have a dream, you have a desire that's on your heart. And the Three of Wands is taking the first steps, putting things in motion. And again, you might not have all of the steps laid out. You might not know exactly what direction you're moving in, but it's all about trusting your intuition, trusting yourself, trusting your guidance to lead you in the right direction. And that's why I think it's really so important to be embodied and to really get to know who you are, because that's how we tap into our God-given gifts. And the goal of all of the threes is to eventually be like the Empress. This is the embodiment of all of the threes and the pure expansion that grows within us and eventually is birthed through us. This is the goal, to eventually become, to embody the energy of the Empress. And it's full expansive energy. It's creation. It's abundance too. It's satisfaction and joy. So another thing to think about is when we're talking about remembering our gifts or tapping into our gifts, think about when you were a kid. What were the things you really enjoyed doing? And why did you enjoy doing them? What feelings or sensations did you feel when you were doing those things? Those are huge clues into what your God-given gifts and talents are. And I know this has been coming up a lot for me, and also in a lot of sessions recently. People have reached out wanting to get clues as to what their purpose is and why they're here. I think the reason why this is coming up so strong is the more, I mean, the world's kind of a mess. I think you know that. But the more of us that are sharing our gifts, sharing our God-given talents, I don't want to say the lighter the energy becomes, but the higher the frequency becomes on this planet when more of us can be tapped into why we're here and sharing our gifts, sharing our talents, sharing our skills. You know, each one of us come here to help bring out the light in each other, and then also to like I've been saying, be embodied and step into your light so that your light can shine even brighter. Let me just look at this really quick. So the goal is to become the Empress. So we talked about that. Now, if we talk about the number 3 and the energy of 3 as far as color therapy goes, that's the energy of the color coral. And coral comes up so often for me in readings. It's very rejuvenating. It's a really healing color to work with. And coral is the energy of expansion. And in the color therapy system, Jupiter, what's the word I'm thinking of? Jupiter is linked with coral. So Jupiter is the planet of expansion, abundance, being big, being seen, manifesting. And Jupiter really reminds me of the energy of the Empress, allowing your unique being to birth ideas, to birth and create whatever it is that your unique talent and skill is. And coral also asks us to love ourselves unconditionally. So a lot of fears and programming could be tied into how you see yourself and how well, I want to say, I guess, how you maybe are hiding from others, or you are too worried about what other people might say or think about your gifts or your talents, or comparing yourself to others. And I also think that, and what I have noticed with a lot of people is somewhere along the way, many of us get taken off of our path, and that's total conditioning, and we're told, you know, in order to be successful or to fit in, or, you know, whatever that programming is, we've got to do something often that is completely opposite of what our God-given skills and talents are. And then that creates a lot of constriction. That creates a lot of, you know, swimming upstream and feeling like you can't ever get ahead, never really feeling satisfied, wondering why you're here, feeling exhausted, you know, all of those things. And what I find interesting, at least with myself, is the more that I get to know who I really am, and the more that I allow myself to be who I am, doors just open up. The world has become more expansive for me. Things fall into place without me having to really try super hard or to put in a lot of effort. Things just there seems to be a flow. But then every time I try to do things the way maybe other people have told me to do them, or, you know, you should do it this way, you should do it that way, and I can feel in my body like, no, that's not for me. That doesn't work for me. Then my world starts to become smaller and more constricted, and things just aren't falling into place. So it is possible to make money, to be successful, working with our God-given talents and skills. So let's see. So I talked about Jupiter. We talked about working with the color coral. And another thing you can do is, you know, look at the color coral, wear the color coral. That can help tap into the energy of 3, the energy of manifestation, and the image that I have here. Let me see if I can explain this. So it's like plasma. This whole 3D world that we live in, it's like this plasma energy. It's malleable, it's flexible. It's almost kind of like Play-Doh is the vision that I have. And you can mold that into whatever it is that you want it to be. You can create this future or vision or dream, whatever that is for you. You can create that. You can give it shape. That's the energy of 3 and the energy of coral. It's giving something that doesn't have a shape form. That's what we're, you know, tapping into here. I don't know if you guys have, I'm sure someone watching this has seen this before. But when you're working with energy, I can't always see it with my eyes, but at times I can. And at times what it looks like when I'm working with energy or I'm in someone's energy, I can see it looks just like plasma, like it's this stringy, I don't really want to say that it's like gooey. I'm trying to think of something that I can compare it to. Nothing's coming to mind other than Play-Doh. But it's these threads of energy that you can kind of pull apart, and it's really malleable. I can see it in between people's fingers. It kind of looks like webbing. You can pull at it, you can stretch it, you can move it around. That's essentially what energy work does. But it's also how energy works with us. and manifests around us too. So, and I think that's why it's so important to be very intentional with our thoughts and with our tapping into your skills, tapping into those God-given talents. And that's what Spirit is challenging you to do at this time, is tap into those God-given gifts, because the energy around us, this plasma energy around us, it really responds to everything that we think, say, or do. And we literally create, and we're able to move energy in a way and shape it in a way that creates an environment that is in greater alignment with who we are. The other thing that's coming up that's coming to mind right now, and I think this is a big fear around stepping into our gifts, is I think there's a part of us that knows that when we tap into those gifts, big changes have to be made in our lives. And that can mean, maybe you have to move. Maybe there's certain people in your life that won't be a part of your life if you make these big changes. But something that I have noticed in regards to that, so if that is a fear of yours, Spirit does it in a way that it's very gradual. And that's what I've noticed with me. Now, there are other people that have, that I know that have made some pretty wild changes and just, kind of burned everything down and rebuilt again. And that's great. You can do that too. But if you are noticing that there's a lot of fear around change, if you start living more authentically, that you probably won't stay at the same job. It could mean that a marriage or a relationship that you are in will probably end. There could be some big changes, and a lot of fear around that. What I have noticed is that Spirit does it usually in a fairly gentle way, and things just unfold in a natural way. I'm not saying that it's going to be easy and that there won't be changes and discomfort along the way, but there's just a way. You really have to experience it, but to me, it has seemed really gentle. And it feels like when I come up against the next door or the next part of my process, if I'm being, honest and authentic with myself, one, I can easily see what needs to change or shift, what I need to do differently. But it's almost like the universe is speaking with the people around me, and in some cases, some people have naturally just kind of fallen out of my life, and I haven't had to do anything about it. Earlier in my life, relationships just kind of fell apart, and we went our own way. It's really interesting. So if that is a fear, don't think about all of that. Just start. What's the next step that you could take? Or maybe it's just thinking about, what is it that I want to feel? So for me, feeling satisfied is really important. I want to feel, to me, satisfaction brings joy. So if I can feel satisfied, I don't mind doing hard work. I don't mind working really hard if I can feel satisfied at the end of the day. So what is it that you want to feel? And take a moment to think about that and to write it down. And then also think about why aren't you doing those things? What's stopping you from having those experiences? So now I want to kind of move in. Now I hope we have an idea of what the energy of 3 is. And it does usually always involve other people. There's not very many people that are here on the planet that came here to be alone and work alone. For the most part, we need other people to make our dreams come true. So the 3s are definitely working with other people. And also just having a close circle of people that you can really trust. I feel like that's really important too when you start to really start working with your gifts. Having people that you can trust, that you can get feedback from is really, I have found that really helpful. And also, if you want to book a one-on-one, we can dive into your life's purpose, what's going on with you, what are some fears or programming, some stumbling blocks that maybe you haven't realized, things like that. Readings are great, and I'll have a link below if you'd like to book a reading. But let's go ahead and I wanted to look at what is some of the fears and conditioning and programming coming up for you at this time. So I'm going to pull some cards. I just want to see. Yeah, so we talked about the color coral. Oh, yeah, and that was the other thing. Okay, so I skipped something here. So coral also helps you realize what you are reflecting, because the world reflects back to us. The world's constantly giving us feedback, and you can notice that with, repeated patterns, repeated situations that keep coming up in your life, whether it's, good, bad, whatever. If there is a theme, a constant person that keeps coming into your life, they're reflecting something back to you. They're reflecting a part of you back to you. So when that happens over and over again, it's really important to start asking the question, how am I doing this to myself? Or how am I like that person? Or why does this keep happening? Even just to ask that question. And then pay attention when you ask these questions, what you are feeling, because coral's really reflective. It really does help. It helps you to, it reminds you of whatever is inside of you is reflected back to you by the world. So a few things to think about, questions to journal about. Again, looking at the patterns, noticing where you find flow in your life, where you find ease, when things are falling into place for you, and you're not having to work really hard at it, or there's not a lot of restriction. What's going on with you in those times? What are you doing? How are you feeling? What's your attitude? What's your mind? What's going on in your mind? When you find those moments of flow, that gives you a lot of feedback as far as your purpose and what you might be good at. Whenever we're in flow, we're in alignment, basically. When we're not in flow, we're out of alignment. So if you're not sure what alignment is for you, really pay attention to when you find those moments of flow. That's really important. Where are you finding you're stuck? And again, repeated patterns can show you where you're stuck. I want to feel this, I want to have this, but it's just not happening. That could show you where you're stuck. And there's probably programming, conditioning or programming that you might not be aware of. So pay attention to what's going on in your mind. The best deprogramming program that I have found, and I bring it up a lot, is A Course in Miracles. So that could be something that you do to it's like it neutralizes the programming. And when I'm talking about programming, I'm talking about programming from childhood, programming from when, you know, we were in school, all the ways that we're programmed, TV, commercials, music. I mean, the world's constantly trying to mold us into what it wants us to be. So you really have to break through all of that noise, and oftentimes most of that noise is in our mind. It's the things that we think about, we say, and that if you're not aware of it, then that becomes your embodiment, and that really keeps you from transforming. It keeps you out of touch with what your natural gifts and skills are. It keeps you stuck. So I wrote down the self-talk. Where is this coming from? Whose voice is that? That's another really good way to unravel what's going on. Is when you're hearing these negative thoughts, is there a voice? Are you hearing a particular person's voice? That can show you where some of your programming is. Take a look at that. And, you know, ask yourself, is it true? Is what your mind telling you true? Because odds are it probably isn't. The third thing is really pay attention to how you feel. That's really important. So I want to go ahead and pull some cards and just get a feel for what the fear is. What is the fear? Let's see. Is that the question I want to ask? What is the fear? Let's look at, where are you stuck? What's the programming? Where are you stuck? What's the programming? And next best step. So Spirit's advice and guidance. Let's go ahead and let's do that. So I'm just going to use the Rider-Waite Tarot. Let me shuffle these and... So in talking about fear stops our expansion, growth, and creativity, and wanting to break through that. Show us, so asking Spirit, asking our guides and guardians to come through and show us where we are stuck as a community, as everyone here watching this video. Where are we stuck? Where are you stuck? Let's take a look here. I just keep hearing mental. So, and I don't think we fully appreciate how much our minds control our lives. And it's just a whole lot of bullshit that goes on in there. All right. Where are you stuck? Show us where. Wow. We have the Magician. And the Magician is a powerful manifester. The Magician can manifest anything with what he has. He doesn't need anything else. If you are looking around your room, looking around the space that you're in, looking within you, everything that you have access to right now are all that you need to manifest. And that's where we're getting stuck. And if what it feels like is feeling like there isn't anything possible, feeling like, yeah, I'm looking around the room, what I have is, that's not going to get me very far, and that's as good as it's going to get for me. That's the energy that I'm picking up. It's a really kind of constricted, playing small energy here. And I mean, I'm sure a lot of that does come from, you know, programming from childhood, being told, oh, you're not good at that, or, you know, some of this feels like generational stuff, like our family's always been poor, or our family's always been sick, or this has always been a thing. It's that type of energy. And so many, at least what I have noticed, is a lot of the people that choose to work with me are people that have came here to break those trends, to break through where other family members, other generations haven't been able to break through. That's something that I have noticed is pretty consistent with the people that I work with. So if you're watching this, you most likely are one of those people. So just because other people in your family haven't been able to do something or be something or have something doesn't mean that it's not possible for you. So realizing the possibility, that's where we're really getting stuck, feeling like we don't have options. And something that I do, because I get in this mindset too quite often, I always just ask myself, well, what if? What if it could change? What if? I feel like that really helps to expand your energy. And anytime we can be in a, and when I say expand your energy, I mean pushing your auric field out. I feel like anytime, any kind of activity you can do that helps you to push your auric field out, helps you tap into inspiration. It makes it easier for spirit to speak to us. It makes it easier for the world and the universe to give us ideas. So what if? What if this was possible? What if that was possible? You know, some people like to journal, and that helps them be more open. That helps to push the auric field out. For other people, moving your body, running, doing something that will help you feel good, actual physical movement will help people. Draw, paint, do something. I like to do automatic writing too. That can be a really fun activity that can help you think in a more expanded way. What else do we need to know about where are we stuck? And then I'm going to pull a card to look at the programming. But what else do we need to know about being stuck, this energy of not seeing the possibilities? What else do we need to know about that? And thanks so much for being here, you guys. I appreciate you. And share below what you have noticed in your life as far as what keeps you stuck. What is the mindset? What is the programming? I feel like when we share that with other people, it helps. It helps all of us. And that's why I like to do these videos. It's just, I want everyone, and myself included, because I'm still on this journey, to live our lives to the fullest and to really live it from an aligned place, live it from an aligned way of being. So part of what is keeping us stuck, we have the Eight of Pentacles here. That's your day-to-day activities. It's work, yes, it can be the way you make money. A couple things are coming up here. And that's exhaustion. You get up, you do the same thing every day. You do this, you know what your day is going to be. I would start questioning just for the fun of it. I mean, it doesn't have to be anything serious. Ask yourself, why do I do this? Why do I do this in this way? Is there another way that I could do my day? Is there another way I could do this chore? Is there another way I could structure my week? Asking questions like this and just getting your mind thinking out of the box can help, again, push your auric field out and help you to think and feel more expansively. But you might also not really be aware. You might be on autopilot. And if you're on autopilot, you're just doing what you do because that's what you do. Start questioning that. I feel like for quite a few, you're not even aware of all of the possibilities, what's possible for you, because you're just so stuck in that autopilot mode. The other thing too, and I totally get this, is working a job that is unfulfilling, unsatisfying, and it just drains your energy. So if you're in a situation like that, I feel like it's really important to have hobbies, to have something that rejuvenates you, to have something that you look forward to doing. So what is that for you? And even if it's something you only do once a week, it'd be better if you could do it like every day. But what is it that really brings a lot of pep and excitement into your life? What is a way that you can fill your cup up? What is that for you? And start bringing more of that into your life. It feels like for some of you, because you're in such autopilot, you haven't even really considered that there could be something more for you. Or maybe you're thinking, I don't have any talents or skills. And that's not true, because you do. And what I've also noticed with people is quite often your God-given talents and skills are the things that you are doing right now, that may seem really mundane or like it's not a skill. It probably is. Or I mean, like a talent, like a God-given talent. Oftentimes it is really mundane, and it's mundane to us because it comes naturally to us and we don't even know that we're doing it half the time. Or we assume everybody knows how to do that. Or we assume that everybody has that talent or skill, and that's not true. That's something that I've really learned throughout my life, is the things that come really easy to me are things that I assumed would come easy to everybody. I assumed everybody did this or felt this or saw this, and that's not true. Okay, so let's look at the programming. What is the programming that is keeping you stuck? What is the programming? What is the programming? So I'm getting the image of an elementary school. I'm seeing a school, it says elementary. So I feel like for a lot of you watching, and myself included in this, a lot of this programming came in during elementary school. So it could be that age group, specifically around, I don't know how old we are in second and third grade, but specifically around second, third grade. So if you can think back to when you were in second or third grade, what was going on with you at that time? What was happening in your family? That feels really pivotal. So tap into that and see what's coming up around. I would say the first thing that comes to your mind, that's probably the thing to look at, the feelings to explore. Okay, so where's the programming? Let's pull a card and see what we get here. What was that? Oh, look at that. We got the Empress. So the programming probably came from, it could be masculine too, but the Empress is feminine. So a female, a prominent female, this could be a mother, teachers. What this feels like to me is, it doesn't feel like there wasn't the nurturing or the, how do I want to say this? Not that we weren't nurtured, not that you didn't have a loving mother, but it feels like there was a wedge kind of put in, or not feeling like you could be loved, or not feeling like you were lovable, just not feeling like you had the nurturing that you needed, not feeling like there was a soft place to land, feeling like everything was very unsafe. And I feel like whatever that is for you specifically, and it's probably going to be a little different, that closed you down, and the world became very scary. The world became a very cold place. And I'm getting the texture of dry and brittle, easily breakable. So I feel like for a lot of you watching, the programming that is really still playing out in your life goes back to that age, goes back to around 2nd, 3rd grade. Not feeling like you had a soft landing place, not feeling like the women around you were as loving or kind as you needed them to be, feeling not necessarily rejected, but kind of kept at arm's length from the nurturing females in your life. That's what I'm feeling here with this energy. And that has, whether you are aware of it or not, has it's been a thread of energy that has kept you stuck and kept you small. Maybe you don't feel like you are worth being loved, or there could be a lot of worthiness stuff coming up here for you. And that's really keeping you from maybe even tapping into your God-given talents and skills. Worthiness is going to be huge. Being able to have an open heart space, being able to welcome people into your life. And if you don't feel safe, it's hard to be authentic, because you might be a people pleaser. You're wanting that recognition, that love and that attention. So you'll either be a people pleaser, at least this is the way I've noticed it in my own life and with the people that I work with. You're either a people pleaser, or you just shut the door totally on people, and you keep everyone at arm's length. You don't let anybody in. You have a really hard time connecting deeply with other people. So anyway, that's the thread that has, the most prominent thread that I'm picking up here. All right, so let's ask advice and guidance from Spirit. Advice and guidance. Ways to break through this or break out of this. We need to mix things up a little bit. And I'm just going to ask, if you are open to it, I'm just going to ask that Spirit come through, that God, the angelic realm, your guides and guardians, step into your auric field if you are open to it, and only if you are open to it, and bring healing through each of the chakras, bring healing into the auric field, bring in, even if it's just a moment of feeling really held and safe, and see what thoughts, ideas, and inspiration come in. So just give yourself a moment here. Just give yourself a moment. And if you're open to it, allowing Spirit to step in close to you, bring through healing energy, opening up each of the chakras, opening up the auric field, and asking the question, what is possible for me? And then just taking a moment, and you can pause the video. And notice what you're thinking, feeling. Notice what's going on in your body. Are you feeling flexibility and expansion in an area of your body that previously felt really tight? You know, pay attention to what's coming up. And again, you know, pause the video if you want to just stay in that energy for a minute and allow your guides to speak to you. And just know that this energy is available to you at any time. And thank you. Just thanking Spirit, thanking our guides, thanking God for that little moment, a moment of guidance, a moment of inspiration. All right. So moving forward, moving out of this energy, healing this energy, breaking out of the mundane, breaking out of autopilot, advice and guidance here. And interesting too that the Empress, again, the energy of 3 came up again. There's probably a lot more to that that I'm just not getting. But maybe some of you are getting, you are understanding more of what that energy of 3 is. It keeps coming up because there's definitely something to that. 2003 is coming up for me. I keep hearing that, so that could mean something for one of you. That could have been a pivotal year where your world either really opened up or got really small. All right, advice and guidance, moving forward. We got the Judgment card. So allowing yourself to transform and change, allowing yourself to review, you know, take self-inventory. It's okay to look at the areas of yourself that you maybe see as a flaw, or you see it as a weakness, or a, you know, whatever it is. Look at those places of you. Look at the parts of you that you don't want to look at. And ask questions, review, evaluate. You don't have to make any big changes right now, but just be open to living your life in a different way. Be open to receiving information from your guides. Be open to feedback from the world. What is the world showing you? What is the universe showing you? And you can do that by looking at what's happening around you, the people, your friends, the people you choose to have in your life. Now, family, that's kind of a whole nother story. So if you have family members that are maybe not the greatest people, you know, that's not always a great place to look. But the choices, the things in your life that you have control over, what you do, where you work, where you live, how you dress, the way you talk, what you eat, the things that you have control over, because you're an adult. I'm assuming if you're watching this, you're probably an adult. What are those choices that you're making, and why are you doing that? Ask questions. Just be open. Be open to new information coming through. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it there. I hope this was helpful. I find it interesting. I'm recording this video. It's November 1st, 2025, and we're in Scorpio season. You know, Scorpio season is all about transformation, rebirth, massive change. And a lot of that change comes from seeing yourself, asking the questions, what's possible for you, evaluating why you do the things you do, you know, can be very insightful. All right, I'm going to go ahead and leave it there. I appreciate you all so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching this video. And if you wouldn't mind liking it, I would appreciate it. I would love to grow this channel more. And if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Also, if there's anything from this video that you would like me to expand on, comment below and I can do another video, you know, looking at whatever it is that you guys would like me to talk about. All right, you guys, thanks so much for being here. Take great care of yourselves, and I'll talk to you soon.